Welcome back to The Reset. I am Shaun Tucker, human performance scientist and authority architect. I'm here in the Living Lab with an amazing guest today. I can't wait to get into that. Documenting the science, the shift, and the struggle for every high performance dad and founder who's ready to bridge the gap between their ambition and their presence. Today, as I said, I'm in the Living Lab with Marjenne. So if you don't know who Marjenne is, she's a transformative breathwork coach and business mentor. She is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs bridge the gap between high stakes ambition and deep somatic alignment. She's actually an ex 9-to-5er who traded the corporate ladder for a life of freedom and presence. She specializes in energetic rewiring and nervous system regulation to move founders from chronic hustle into a state of aligned flow. By integrating breathwork and somatic practices, Marjenne empowers leaders to architect the inner world first, ensuring their external success is a direct reflection of their internal clarity. Today, she joins us in the Living Lab to share how owning your superpower can create a life of abundance, ease, and intentional presence. So Marjenne, welcome to the show. So awesome to have you here.
No, thank you so much, Shaun. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite.
And where in the world are you coming from? I mean, I have an idea about where you're where you are right now, but I'd love for you to inform the audience.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So at the moment I'm in Mexico. But I'm originally Dutch, so I'm from the Netherlands, and I have been in Brazil for 3 months, and now I'm more than 2 months in Mexico. Yes, in Puerto Escondido, close to the beach.
Wow. Wow. For someone who I met actually in a breathwork container, probably a year and a bit ago, you have seriously transformed your entire life. I think the very first moments that I got to know you, you were in Italy, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's where the whole story actually started. Yes,
What story? I'd love
absolutely.
to. Where are we starting? Where
Yeah,
did
where
you
do we
start?
start? Well, I mean, yes, I was born in the Netherlands, but I was, I was actually living a good life, I would say. Like I'm not someone with with a crazy bad life, or I wasn't, bullied, or I wasn't like I didn't come from a bad place, and I was actually doing very well, like in the system. But yeah, at some point, I was doing it all perfectly, and I was in the greatest positions already, like promotion after promotion, ticking up all the boxes. And that was when I realized, oh my God, like, am I gonna do this the rest of my life? Like, everyone is like, yeah, you're doing so well, but I just stressed. I was panicking. I was just thinking about what future am I actually running into? Will this ever stop? Like, I was just stressed. And so at that point, I knew, okay, I can continue doing this, or I need to search if there's also another way. And back then I had no idea what other way, like no idea, because all I knew was climbing the ladder, which I was pretty good at. And so then, like, with a coach back then, he just asked me, okay, but there's probably one thing that you want, right? I was like, I just want to go to Italy. I just want to be there. And that was the moment. It's like, okay, then go there. And I was like, okay. And so that was when I decided to, yeah, quit the job, quit the apartment, quit the comfortable bubble, and just go to Italy to find out who am I actually, and what do I want. And then slowly in Italy, things started to unfold. Yeah.
What gave you that permission piece? Because I know that there's a lot of people listening or watching right now, and they might be in a similar position. You know, they might have even built a business or a company that they thought was a great idea to begin with, but right now it's like they have known for at least a couple of years that it's just not the way that they wanted it, and it's not who they want to be in it. So who gives you permission to just get up and go?
Yeah. Yeah, well, no one. I think at the end, no one gave me permission. But actually, I also didn't get a lot of resistance. So I think that was also funny to experience, that no one was really against it. I think I had quite a supportive environment, or people were like maybe, curious of like, oh, okay, yeah, why not? So I think that really helped as well. Um, but I just felt like I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose in terms of I already know that if I continue this way, I already know what I have and how my future will look like if I continue this way. And so I was more curious to just experience the unknown and see what else was possible, knowing that I could always return. I could come back to my old job, luckily. They wanted me to come back if I wanted.
Hmm.
Um and and so like that maybe safety net of I can always come back in that old life. So I'm young, I do not have a lot of responsibilities. So let's just figure out.
I love that. I really do. But there's something I'd love to get into a little bit more. Have you ever heard of the burning the boats analogy before?
Mm, it sounds like that I know what it's about, but tell me before. Yeah. Tell me again.
So there's this actually great book, but it comes before the book. And it's essentially like there's the idea if we have a plan A and a plan B, we're going to actually not go fully in on plan A. Right. So burning the boats literally means you're burning all of the other plans and you're going to figure out how plan A you will be successful at carrying forward and moving through all the way to plan A. There's no
Mm,
other options. And it sounds like what you just described is almost having that little bit of comfort and knowing or safety, because many people in the position that you probably were in and probably are in is they don't want to give up that comfort, right? They really don't, because it's a safety net. It's a certainty. But the truth is, like, let's be real. It's the mind is perceiving that as safety. Whereas if you gave up on your plan A, which is to go in that entrepreneurial nomadic lifestyle where you're literally moving countries, you've moved like 3 or 4 countries in the last 6 to 12 months. It's crazy, right? You wouldn't
yeah.
probably have seen yourself do this 2 years ago. But there's this element of what if I return, or like what if it fails, I can go back. How much of that do you think is just coming from a mind's place of insecurity, and how much does that still play out in your world now?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I think like what I have experienced along the way is that yes, you can always go back, and yes, maybe it is like a failure, or it can feel like a failure if you actually have to go back. But what I always remind myself of is kind of like I have this image in my head. Like my mom works in elderly houses. So she works with a lot of like old people, 80, 90 plus. And as a kid, I would come with her to work like for a day to just help her and like serving coffee and food. And I just see those people like in a room chatting together, just talking about their lives, sharing their adventures, sharing their experiences, sharing any like events that were important for them. And I always visualize myself that I would rather tell the story of like, I had this crazy idea. I had this thing that I just wanted to try, and I did. And it has been a wild ride. It has been a wild journey. And maybe I didn't achieve it, but I had so much fun just experiencing it and just trying. And then just tell all the stories where I failed, but where I kept on having fun and just where I met the weirdest people and the funniest people. Like just imagine like even this, like the way that we connected, like that's such a cool story to tell. And it doesn't matter if I actually, if I actually succeeded or if I actually win, but having those experiences is for me, it's worth more than just sharing the story of like, oh yeah, I had this dream, but I never tried. So yeah, haha. And then end of the story.
It's
Like
funny that you
that's
said,
not the story that I'm gonna share. So that's actually what I always like keep in my mind. Yeah, what story do you want to share in 50 years from now?
interesting. What two things I find interesting in that is one, my mother is also in aged care as well, so she she takes care of the elderly as well. Which I didn't know that about your mother, but that's interesting. Secondly, it sounds like with the metaphor, the analogy that I use, the burning the boats, it sounds like for you, it's not so much about burning the boats. It's more, let's just play, have fun, and try and see where this goes. But how much? I guess the question I'd love to know is how much do you think? Do you still think that you would default back to that safety if things got really, really hard for you? Do you think, oh, maybe I'll just get back on the boat and go back to where I was and go back to comfort and safety?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I will not go back, but just the
Mm,
idea of it is always an option
yeah.
that feels good. Like it's like that's I already know like my worst case scenario is someone's best case scenario.
Hmm. That's interesting. That's really interesting. It sounds like it comes from a deep place of gratitude. It's like whatever journey this is or whatever experience I have, there's no resentment, there's no remorse, there's no regret. It's simply,
Exactly.
I'm grateful for the experience.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Just grateful for the experience. And I also start to, and I think this is a mindset thing as well, but I really start to just see it from a perspective of, okay, so if this happens, if I run completely out of money, if if everything that I do, like nothing works out, then I'm so curious what I will actually do and what I will learn. Like what will happen. And so instead of focusing on that fear, instead of focusing on, oh my God, like, like really getting stuck in that fear, just being curious
Mm,
and just like, how will I move through such a level of challenge? How will I move? And then, I mean, knowing that everyone, like every successful person, every inspiring person, like you are inspiring because you've been through a lot of like challenges, and eventually you overcome them, and then okay, so what did you learn from that?
yeah. Where did you learn to develop such a mindset? Because I think for a lot of people listening, for a lot of people watching, even myself, it's that fear is the thing that controls us, right? And it sounds like for you, at some point along your journey, the fear became a curious, almost like, what's on the other side of that?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Well, yeah, definitely a great question. And I think what was before was a lot of suffering. Yeah. So especially in the beginning, like the moment you decide to actually say out loud what you really want, your dreams, your goals, like the first time and I experienced the same with my clients, the first time that you actually want to dream out loud, it feels so scary. It feels so scary, and you almost decide to hold back, to not share anything, because what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? And lately I heard this quote of like, people would rather be disappointed by what they know than fearing like like maybe be disappointed by what will happen. And so instead of just being curious, like how can you change that? Like how can you actually just put yourself in a position where it's cool that you're trying, like making it cool to try. Because if you never try, if you never let yourself experience things, then for sure you will not make it. And so instead of seeing it as a fear, just being curious and making it fun that you're trying, making it fun that you're failing. Because what's on the other side, it's like, you will be surprised by what you're actually capable of.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because once again, I think a lot of people, including myself, and probably this is mostly for myself, but for those listening and viewing, there's this neuroticism that happens, right? There's this, I guess, thoughts in the background that just keep on saying, you are not good enough. You are like, what's the point of even trying? You are just a failure. Everything you've done, even though like 95% of what you have achieved, like, is amazing. But there's this element of not even being able to, like, you still feel like it's not good enough. So you don't even celebrate it. And something for me as an integration piece for this next level of who I'm becoming is being able to actually celebrate and look forward to the next celebration. So it's not like living in the past and saying, oh, I did all these amazing things and I'm celebrating that. It's like, no, it's looking forward to the next celebration. It's like, how can I even just celebrate this ginger tea that I had?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
It's really
Yeah.
hard to do that. So I'd love to know how you've cultivated such a embodied or living mindset of just being able to try without, I guess, letting those expectations of failure, of not being good enough, of what's the point of trying? How do you move through that? Like, how have you been able to move through that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because I actually, it like there's no like one trick. It's the same with everything. It's the same with, like you don't become a masculine person by just trying once. You want to stay consistent with observing your thoughts, sharing them, saying them out loud, actually like becoming aware of what are actually your current thoughts. What do you think at the moment about this? Like being very like present actually with what is living in your head, what's going on. And um by being very mindful about what you're thinking and catching those thoughts, the faster the better, and start to reframe them. And not just on a mental level, but really in a body level as well. So understanding them like, hey, where are these coming from? Why do I think that? Okay, amazing. So how can I reframe them so that they are actually working, for me instead of against me? And just reminding yourself all the time, like, who do I want to become? Like, how do I want to, look back on this? How do I want to show up for myself, for as the leader that I want to be, for the people that I want to work with? And so yeah, that it is like going to the gym. It's a daily practice, I would say. It's not something you take a break of. It's like constant practice.
Mm,
With ups and downs. I mean, it's not that I never fear anything anymore. It's not like that I never wake up, I'm like, oh my God. Like actually last week every time you go for a different level and you do another investment, or you raise your own investments, or like you face the same fears in a different jacket, like in different clothes
yeah.
again. and it's again like the practice. Okay, yeah, this has happened before. Okay, so what do you want to think about? It's like it's really pausing and taking the time to yeah, train it again, and going to the gym again with those different yeah, thoughts again.
Sounds like the training aspect is it is a daily practice, but it's almost like a moment to moment practice, which makes it both more exciting, but also depending on where you're at, right? Depending on the level of suffering that you already are going through, it can be quite overwhelming, right? There's like so much of just how do I reframe all of this? It's like I didn't realize the last 20 years I was carrying so much weight.
Yes.
How do I get rid of that?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's again being gentle with yourself in that process, like learning to love yourself for doing that work, you know? And for a long time, I realized how much I was not connected with myself and how much I was not actually collaborating with myself. And so once the box of Pandora opens up, it's like, how can you actually enjoy that process? How can you actually, you know, be gentle with yourself and be like, oh my God, look, wow, this is what you all did. So it's the same with, instead of, yeah, pushing yourself through or, you know, shaming yourself, or it's just like, okay, like again, being curious and just being gentle with yourself because you're with yourself all the time. So you better make it fun along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what what I'm getting through that is the curiosity piece. It's being almost obsessively curious because even the way that you're um, coming back with what you say, right? It's like, oh wow, amazing! It's so embodied. I think it's such a wonderful tool that people talk about, but do they actually use? Because let's say they have a practice. Yeah, they have a breathwork practice that they do. They do all these things. They do the somatic practices. They do the breath work. They do mindset work. They have a coach. They've got a mentor. They might be crushing it, but inside they're still suffering. Like they still hate themselves. Yeah.
Mm.
And that inner voice is just so narcissistic. It's so controlling. And there's this element I think that most people miss, and I think you have it down pat so well, is that everything in your life is one moment away from your change. Like you can change given everything you have. It's not just in the practices, in the coaching, in the sessions and experiences that you have, but it's literally when you're, I don't know, putting butter on your toast. It's like, are you observing what's happening right now inside of you? Like, there's this Ram Dass quote, which I love, which is like, have you tried taking the curriculum of your own life?
Yeah.
How much do you embed that and implement that without even realizing that you do that?
Well, I think when it comes to like this, what I I think especially because of my past, like I thought I was chasing milestone after milestone. I thought, if I, you know, I went to university, I have 2 degrees, I did an internship, I did a traineeship, I did extracurricular activities. Like I thought that all these things would lead to like success or would lead to fulfillment, would lead to the peace that I wanted to experience. And also chasing like money, promotion, like all these things. And when I had all those results, so people were, you know, I got the promotion, I got a salary raise if I asked for it. I did all those things, and I was still feeling unfulfilled, and I was still feeling like rushed and stressed. And so for me, I mean, I realized this later on, of course, but for me, that was a sign of like, okay, I actually know how to create. If I put my mind to some things, I know somehow I will get those results, but I don't feel it. Like this is not actually what I actually want. And so knowing that, it's like every time that I try to reach something, but I actually don't feel good, I know, okay, wait a minute. I can actually, in this very moment, I can choose what actually makes me feel energized or actually makes me feel happy. And so it is not about all those external results. It's how you can feel or create that sensation, that state. You can already create, like, you can only create it now.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people right now, and this has been the case for many, many years, I think, since probably one of the industrial revolutions or something like that. But it's when your life became about production. So it's you have to be productive. And so it became very goal oriented. It became very much do, not be. And it sounds like what you've been able to embody is really that awareness of being, like, how am I being right now? Yes, I can keep going, but what's it doing for me? What's it costing my being and my well being, which is based on
Exactly.
how you feel? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And especially that part, like we like if you're a little bit like me, you have this idea of what it should look like. And so what it should look like, it you think that that reflects how it feels like. And so you keep on
Mm,
chasing certain things and results because you assume that that will give you a certain feeling. But once you have done that for a couple of times and you actually don't feel anything, then you know, okay, wait a minute, like this is not actually what I want, and this is not actually serving me. So that's operating a lot with the head. And I think
yeah.
that is what makes it an embodiment, is like, yeah, there is this society well-known idea of how life should look like, but it doesn't make any sense if you don't actually feel that.
Mm. So that brings me to the question I think everyone's probably wondering, and that is, how do you actually know what you want?
Yes. That's such a big question. And the only way to find your answer, and there's also not yeah, maybe this is a bit disappointing, but I think it will change all the time, like what you actually want. And so the only way to get your answer is to go inwards. Like we think that we have to go outside and like, I mean, travel can help, but it only helps if you get yourself out of an environment so you can actually listen to yourself. So
Okay.
getting yourself out of the environment is definitely something that I encourage people to do, because in that environment you are yeah, you are just conditioned in a certain way, and maybe, yeah, you start to assume things that aren't actually yours or aren't actually what you truly want. And so getting yourself out of the environment by just listening and going inwards and understanding who you truly are outside of all the known patterns and environments, like, yeah, I would encourage everyone to do that. And if you don't have the opportunity to really get yourself out of the environment, then start to do inner work, get yourself a coach, get yourself breathwork, somatic work, any way to really dive into yourself. How vague that sometimes sounds, but it really starts to, yeah, doing your research inside.
Mm. It's the inquiry about what's really happening, and I guess, how am I really? How am I
Yeah.
really? Like, I think how are you has become such a unconscious, almost just routine brush off type requires a routine brush off response, because the truth is, and I love this from one of our colleagues actually in our breathwork container as well. He said, he was quoting someone, I think it was Marx, and it was, religion it's basically the pathway to have a heart in a heartless world. And I don't know, it struck me because we really do live in this world. We are human, right? We are primitive species.
Mm-hmm.
And we are very much survival of the fittest type species. So our brain is not that old. Like, our body is, the evolutionary memory that our body carries is probably a lot more wise than what our mind has. And I think when we learn to settle and really become present with the sensations in our body and actually tune into what's really going on, we get away from these survival mentalities and really we're able to connect a lot more to life, which is what we are, right? We do forget that we are life. We're not just in life or part of life, we are life as well. And I think when you're able to sit in those environments where you're much more in tune with life, there is no suffering, right? You are just with it all playing out now. And something that I'd love for you to share, because you're about to go on an adventure, an inquiry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am.
You're going to
Yes.
do it. I think it's your very first Vipassana, which
Yes,
is,
that's
for
right.
those who don't know, is a silent retreat, basically a silent meditation retreat. And yeah, like, you're about to go on your very first one. So can you give us, I guess, some insights as to why would someone do that? First and foremost, and what is it that you think you are looking for, or what is it that you think you are seeking?
Yeah, it's such a interesting question, and more people ask me this question. So, I, first of all, I'm a very intuitive person. So whenever I just feel the pull, I just like, okay, let's go. So to be honest, it has been, shared by some people before, and I'm like, oh, what is it? So I just got curious, and I like often I don't want to hear too much because then I start to think about it, and then like I may want to change my decision. Or so I didn't read too much about it. I didn't like listen to too many experiences from other people. Um, but I think my main answer to this question is just I just want to experience what this will feel like, what this will
Okay.
do. Yeah. So I do not really have a big idea behind it. I'm just like, what fascinates me is like, when on earth, when in your lifetime do you take 10 days off without without anything? So no phone, no connection, no, like, just silence, just you, your thoughts, your body. Like, isn't that, like, for me, I'm like so curious what will come up, what will happen, which is also scary because what will happen? But I think
Mm.
it's the exact like sweet spot of I'm just curious. Like, let's just experience this. Yeah.
What's really interesting on that is it's voluntary solitude, right?
Yeah.
So when you mess up, or when you are in a lot of trouble in the prison system, they will take you and they will put you into solitude, which is
Yeah.
basically a space in quiet where you are alone with your thoughts. And I don't know, maybe there's some communication with the guards, depending on the security in the prison, obviously, as well. But it sounds like what you're opting in for is voluntary solitude, which for some people, they go for walks, right? They
Yes,
go on,
100%.
I don't mean daily walks. I mean like 10, 12, 15, 30-day adventures, like just walking. You just have to walk from here to here. I had a
Yeah.
friend who just went to the Camino de Santiago over in Spain. So yeah, he said it was one of the toughest things he's had to face. And he was in the war itself over from Croatia. He's from Croatia. So when the states kind of split from Yugoslavia, that's where he was just basically a teenage youngster
Mm,
facing the war. So he's certainly had to face himself again. What is it, like 40 years later or something? So I think it's interesting
exactly.
what you're opting in for. And would I do it?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm curious too.
Yes, exactly. Just it sounds so like it doesn't make any sense to do this, and therefore I'm curious. Like, why would you do that? Yeah, why not? Let's just experience it. And I mean, again, like the worst case scenario, I quit and I just get out of it, and I just tell a funny story about it. Like, I wasn't able to do this. Okay, this was not for me. Let's go. Next chapter.
What's funny when you say, I could quit? I don't see it. I just don't think you will.
Exactly. So maybe this comes up in this whole 10-day meditation as well. It's like, ooh, I am that not quitter. Can I actually quit? Can I, like maybe this comes up. Maybe this comes up exactly in the retreat that I will be like fighting these thoughts. Like, is it allowed to quit if I actually really don't like this? This really is not me. Or do I keep on holding on that identity of I am not a quitter and I keep on continuing? So yeah, maybe that comes up. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to experience that. I'm excited to hear, yeah, what comes up for you and what comes out for you and what's on the other side. Because there's just something that I'd love to relate back to. Said earlier on, it's that it's kind of like when you go and you're trying to seek or trying to achieve the goal. That people want to create they want to create a feeling right now, right? And that's why they go trying to attain a goal, but they almost miss the whole point, right? In that building it and going towards the goal, you should be able to manufacture and create that feeling as you're moving towards it, right? It's not getting the goal and then creating the feeling. It's like if the feeling is not being created as you're pursuing the goal, then what's even the point? Could you speak into to that for a second?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. And like what I experienced in the past was that I was like only focused on the goal, only focused on reaching milestones, like having some titles on my CV or some projects done, and thinking then only then I would be worth it, or I would be seen, I would be validated. And so especially when I became an entrepreneur, I realized, wait, like I only celebrate myself when I have a client, or when I get in money, or when I, only celebrating the results. That's gonna give you a very hard time in the journey towards getting those results. And that was exactly the reason why I quit my previous life and why I wanted to change. And so at some point I realized, okay, if I only gonna celebrate myself, or I only gonna see the things that I have achieved, then this is gonna be the same hard journey. This is not why I choose a different life, why I choose to be an entrepreneur. So learning to be very present and enjoying anything that you experience along the way of becoming, and that, yeah, like if you only do that, if you only celebrate yourself when you have hit a certain milestone, like just remember that the finish line is that. So do you just want to celebrate, like at the end, and so like rush through life? And so when you really learn to celebrate yourself along that way, it's going to make the whole journey such a pleasant one, and such like a kid, it's going to be playful. It's going to be like, oh, okay, so what's coming on here? What's happening here? And
Yeah.
that will give you the real pleasure. Yeah,
Sounds like you really have to open the door back up to that, just that playful curiosity that every child before a certain age has. It's usually before 7, sometimes even
exactly.
younger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is such a shame. And I mean, again, like, don't get me wrong. It's not that I've always lived like this. Like, it's exactly why. Like, I have been in that position where I was always so hard on myself, and where I didn't see anything I was actually doing, and I was just pushing through, and people wouldn't see actually like what a hard time I was having, because I would just like perform, like act everything is fine, and then being at home with a racing heart and panicking and stressing out and pushing myself to work also during the night so that I could finish things and then show up, like with all my results again. And exactly because of that, I know how hard it is if you are that hard on yourself. And
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to change, and also why I want to inspire and help other people to create the same, because I know what what it's like to live like that and to just suffer actually.
Hmm. So what was the tipping point of suffering for you? When was it like, I'm done. Like, I just don't want to, I'm just not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I actually remember um like a very clear moment where I was just in bed, and my head, I just couldn't stop. Like I was just, you know, going over my to-do list, everything that I had to do, everything that I pushed myself through, and my heart was just racing. Like I remember like my heart, like it was racing so hard. And I was like, this is not healthy. Like this is so weird. Like this is not good. Um, and that was for me really the point. I was like, I cannot continue this way for another 40 or 50. I don't know how long we have to continue years. So something has to change. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Um, Before we finish up, I'd love to ask one question. Going back to
Yes.
that moment actually, and knowing what you know now, so having all the embodied wisdom, the experience, and just everything factored into what you know now, go back to that one moment, to the version of yourself who is in that state of maybe deep suffering, deep unknowing, but sort of trusting. What piece of advice or what piece of wisdom could you offer that version of yourself?
Um, I think that version really thought that this was just the way it is. Like accepting that this is just life, that this is just part of the deal. Like you want to have this life, so this is just it, and this is what you can create. This is available for you. And I think I really what I would love to advise that version of myself and anyone in this situation is that you don't have to go through this. Like this is not normal. This is not what it should feel like, what it should be like. You can change, and you can feel differently in life, about your journey, about anything. So really, there is another way, and get yourself out of it. Be curious and trust that you will find another way, your way.
Yeah, that's really rich, wise as well. Something I would love to point out is it's actually very normal to be in those states. I think a lot of people and a large percentage of people are in there, right? But
Mm-hmm.
through what you're just saying, it's almost like you want to establish a new normal, right? Which is what leads to the becoming inspiring, because the people who are still suffering, they see themselves in you. They're like, oh, Marjenne did it. That means I can do it too.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So powerful. So thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing your embodied wisdom and just such an incredible story. For people who are listening and watching right now, what's the best way? First and foremost, what is it that you're offering, and how can they join you in your next offering? And then secondly,
Yeah.
how do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, which is Discover with Marge. I will drop it below because it has some like low spaces in the name itself as well. But people can work with me on different levels. But what is upcoming is a group container where we really go through these different things. So where you really learn to regulate yourself, to slow down, to really reconnect with who you truly are. And so eventually how you can embody that. So really live and create a life like aligned with it. So really taking action on that, what you then have discovered is what you actually need and what you actually want to create. So yeah, would love to see you there, connect with you there. If this is, yeah, speaking into you and you want to see like, hey, yeah, who am I actually and how can I take aligned action? Then yeah, let's just explore and see if it could be a match.
Yeah, awesome. So I will absolutely link all Marjenne's Instagram handles in the show notes, as well as any kind of offering that she has as well. And if it speaks to you, make sure you get in contact, because I think the point of today is to really showcase the message of it doesn't have to be this way. You can establish a new normal for yourself. So yeah, get in contact with Marjenne and enjoy the enjoy the ride.
Yes, exactly. Enjoy the ride. I love that. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for having
no
me and
problems.
yeah, sharing this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a really, really great pleasure. So thank you so much, Marjenne, for being here. And remember, for those guys listening, if you want to stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the architect of your legacy, make sure you comment the word reset wherever you're seeing this podcast, and I'll send over the 7-day integrity reset. Remember that most people wait for their life to change. We are the ones who architect our choices. Change your state, choose how you show up. I am Shaun Tucker. I'll see you in the next one.